Did Pokemon break this 2-decade-long series trend? When a new generation of Pokemon comes out, there's always a ton of things to check out. What new Pokemon did they add? What's this region's gimmick? Why isn't Bruxish in Sword and Shield? But one detail that often gets overlooked is the Shiny Sparkle animation and sound effect. See, as far back as Generation 3, the sparkle that shiny Pokemon give off has changed with each passing generation, but not each passing game. The swirling sparkle present in Ruby, Emerald, and Sapphire is also the animation that Fire Red and Leaf Green used for their own shiny Pokemon. When Generation 4 came around, this animation was changed, but yet again with this generation's remix, Heart Gold and Soul Silver, the same sparkle animation was reused. X and Y and Oras used the same animation, which was yet again changed for Generation 7 like it always is. And even with Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, the first Pokemon game on Nintendo Switch, the Gen 7 Shiny Sparkle was used despite being on a different console, simply because this was still a Gen 7 game. But with the inception of Generation 8, this trend began to shift. See, in Sword and Shield, Shiny Sparkles actually had two different animations, a square and a star sparkle, another unique change to Shiny Sparkles with the new generation. So it was assumed that this change would remain constant for the next Generation 8 game. But Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl had other plans. Instead of using the exact same animation like previous remakes in a specific generation, BDSP opted to create a similar animation, pretty much the same but still distinct. What's more is they only included the star sparkles bizarrely, removing the square animation entirely. And even weirder, when Pokemon Legends Arceus came out a few months later, despite it being yet another Generation 8 game, the game added a whole new animation and sound effect completely distinct from the other Generation 8 games. So now it seems like instead of sparkles being dictated by generation, they're dictated by individual game. But this assumption was proven wrong with the next generation. Generation 9 added its own animation like normal, but with the release of Pokemon Legends ZA, shiny hunters were left wondering if this title would follow series trends and use the same sparkle as Scarlet and Violet, add its own sparkle entirely, or perhaps reuse the sparkle from the other Legends game. Interestingly enough, this ended up being the case. ZA used the exact same animation and sound as Arceus, setting a precedent that while other games in a certain generation may use the same sparkle, Legends games seem to have their own distinct sparkle for the sub-series. With this in mind, Generation 8 doesn't seem all that out of the ordinary anymore, the only inconsistency being the sparkle in BDSP. But that sparkle is similar, so it's not a stretch to imagine that the developers did not mean to break the trend. But BDSP just sort of did it anyway because, well, it's like that. So did Game Freak truly switch from a new sparkle per gen to a new sparkle per game, or did BDSP just mess up? I don't know, and it seems like we won't know the truth until we get another remake. So until that happens, I can't help but wonder,